Chapter 1. Grief. Tartarus, Underworld. 6 weeks following the events of Nights of Time. Woe is the grieving left after a loved one sheds their mortal coil. Where comfort once filled a part of existence, so too does the empty void left by their passing. It is a tale told by many, with fond memories, stories, and anecdotes of days gone by. Yet, unlike other experiences that connect us in a primal fashion, death only alienates us further from one another. The words from J.S. Alexander were as timeless as they were haunting. Each syllable echoed in Sephanie's unconscious mind as she read them again and again. It was always the same on nights like this, when she was locked away in her tower. Time had become nearly immeasurable to her while in Tartarus. Though she knew that time moved here just as it did in Eden, she was unsure as to the conversion rate compared to Earth. The days dragged on longer than Sephanie could have imagined possible. Though it was not her first day in the desolate kingdom known as Tartarus, it had by far been the bleakest. She had been his child bride now for 11 years, this season making it an even dozen. In all of that time, the closest thing the two had ever come to being intimate were the long, soul-crushing moments when Vilth would let his hand, or his arm, on her shoulder as they spoke. Skillful from her young age, Sephanie had been assigned many missions over the years, all of them at Vilth's demand. Images of the man, Vilth, whom she had released from the cave imprisonment following the 1817 Pensacola, Florida encounter filled Sephanie's mind. That man was human-looking, I'll bet an older and frail human, but her husband, the man who she had been forced to marry, did not resemble a human in anything but body shape. As to the reason behind this, Sephanie could only speculate. She knew Vilth had lived in Eden once upon a time, and had been taught in her history class at the Academy of Light that he had been exiled based on high crimes and prejudicial treatment of Elaminos and other races. Some even spoke of an epic fight with Marcus Turtledove before Vilth's banishment, but Sephanie had never summoned the courage to ask either of them about it. The land of Tartarus, also known as Hell, the underworld, and the land of the damned, was as large as Eden, if not larger. It was a planet, after all. There were multiple cities stretching over thousands of miles, just like in Eden, where both indigenous and non-native creatures lived side by side. Also like in Eden, citizens of Earth would often wander into one of the two-way fountains that were scattered across the globe, finding themselves in the dark, desolate foreign land of sorrow. That is where the differences end. The continent of Tartarus was shaped like a large horseshoe, surrounded on all sides by oceans as black as ink. Despite having never traveled to the coast before, Sephanie had read stories of sailors disappearing into the Sea of Woe to the east, the undead ocean to the west, and most famous of all, the dark waters of the ominous river Styx that ran through the continent like a large, throbbing vein. The river itself was treacherous with its choppy waters, but it paled in comparison to the lakes that split into 4 separate directions and beckoned for the new entrants to Tartarus to choose one. Where Eden existed as a never-ending paradise of lush, forested areas surrounded by the flowing time stream, Tartarus was a dark, desolate landscape that seemed just as vast, with suffering filling nearly every space.